Hello there to all the parents and families watching this video. My name is Ellie. I'm 18 years old and I'm a person who stutters. The intention of this video is to help provide some light on the subject of having a child who stutters and how to interact with them, how to help them best, how to talk to them, and things like that. And this is coming from the point of view of someone who does stutter and has stuttered almost their whole life, so hopefully it provides some good insight. A short background on me: I have had a stutter pretty much since I have been talking. We don't know how I got it. It wasn't an injury or anything like that. I started talking and my parents noticed at a young age that I had a little bit of some stuttering in my speech. So I saw a therapist when I was about 9 or 10 years old in elementary school, and she told my family that I had a stutter. I found out later by going to therapy in high school that my stutter is permanent and it will be with me for the rest of my life, which it sounds like a bad thing, but it's not. It's become a part of me that I am learning to accept, and I'm learning to be proud of every single day, and I am learning to deal with every single day, and it has made me a better person and a stronger person in the end. So the main thing that I want to convey today to all parents and families out there is something that I had to deal with, and I'm sure kids all over America and all over the world have to deal with who have a stutter, and that is the stigma about stuttering, that it is wrong, or that it is a mistake, or that it is a defect. When my parents first found out that I had a stutter, they didn't know anything about it, and so they kind of did the whole bit about, oh, stop and start over, take a breath, and that's just them being good parents. They saw their child struggling with something, and so their first instinct was to help me and try to help me. And what they didn't know at the time was that that wasn't going to do anything. For children who stutter, it's just going to happen, and stopping and starting over is not going to stop the stutter from happening again. Taking a deep breath, trying to slow down, those are all things that are not going to make a stutter go away. And like I said, I know you parents out there that have probably done this before. It's just you being good parents. You see your children struggling and you want to help them the best you can. Totally understandable. But it's just something that is a incorrect, I don't know what the word is, but it's something that people need to know is not going to help their child. What's going to help your child is when they are in the middle of a stutter, keep eye contact with them, eye to eye. Don't make any reaction with the face. Even something of even saying something like you got this. Sometimes that can come off as a negative thing towards the person stuttering. So just keeping a normal eye contact, normal face, keeping in the conversation with your child is the best thing you can do when they're stuttering. And just ensure that your child knows and voice to them that their stutter is not bad. Make sure that your child knows that their stutter is not a mistake. It is not a defect. It is not wrong. It is not incorrect. Please, because once the child has that in their mind that it could possibly be anything of the sort, it stays with them, and it will stay with them even years after. It will stay with them. And the main thing from a stutterer's point of view, the worst thing in the world is thinking that what you have to do for the rest of your life is wrong or incorrect. So that's the main thing I want to convey, is making sure that your children know that their stutter is not anything to be ashamed of. The second thing I want to talk about is patience. Patience is something that stuttering is so perfect for practicing. Because when someone is stuttering, it takes them a little longer to talk, which is totally okay. It's just a different way of talking. It takes us a little longer to get out what we want to say. It takes a little more effort than it would a non-stutterer. That's okay. So when a listener is listening to someone stuttering, patience is such a big thing, because when the speaker thinks that the listener has lost interest or is not wanting to listen anymore, they get really nervous, and that can be anxiety provoking, which makes the stuttering sometimes last longer than it would in the first place. So having patience when listening to someone stutter and letting them take their time to say what they need to say is so important, because like I've always been told, it's not about how we say it, it's about what we're saying. And people who stutter have just as much to say as anybody else does, just in a different, unique way. And the last thing I want to talk about is encouraging without coaching. I remember when I was first, when my parents first were told correctly about how to deal with me being a stutterer and how it wasn't a bad thing, they would do a lot of encouragement by saying, oh, it's okay, like, stick with it, you got this. And that's so kind of them. They are so kind, they are so supportive of me to this day. And I know that there are a lot of parents out there with children who stutter who just want to support them, be there for them. But sometimes encouragement can turn into a kind of coaching. So instead of saying things like you got it, saying things like, keep going, keep going, you got it, and, almost there, and that makes us, for me personally, I'm sure for a lot of people out there, it makes us feel, almost in a sense, like we're like little kids. And sometimes they are little kids, but, they don't want to be treated like, they don't know what they're doing, because they do. They just really can't control it all the time. So encouragement can come in a lot of different ways, but it can turn into a almost kind of toxic form of coaching, to where they feel like the parent is back in that controlling state, trying to control what they do through positive words. So encouragement is awesome, and it's so necessary for a child who stutters from their family. But just make sure that when you encourage your child that you don't turn into a coach and try to tell them how to get through their stutter and tell them what to do. So yeah, those are my main points. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out and I can answer any of them. And yeah, so thank you for listening.